Hello to all dear listeners of Literary Reflections. Today, we step into one of the most enigmatic and haunting works in modern Iranian literature. A book that is less a novel and more an inner descent into fear, longing, memory, and madness. Today's journey is dedicated to The Blind Owl by Sadegh Hedayat. Let us begin. Chapter 1. A Beginning in Darkness. Our story begins in a small, suffocating room. The narrator sits alone, bent over a writing case decorated with the image of a mysterious woman. He writes not for the world, but for a single audience, his shadow on the wall. From the very first line, he confesses that he is a man consumed by a wound that cannot be healed. In life, there are sores that, like leprosy, quietly eat away at the soul in solitude. The world around him feels rotten, lifeless, drained of meaning. People swarm like shadows without identity, and his only refuge is writing. He is not telling a story. He is confessing a nightmare that has already happened, or is still happening. Chapter 2. The Vision of the Ethereal Woman. One afternoon changes everything. The narrator glimpses a scene so vivid and dreamlike that it carves itself into his soul. A slender, luminous woman sits by a small stream, holding a lotus flower. Her beauty is otherworldly, pure, silent, unreachable. Beside her sits an old hunchback playing a reed flute, his face twisted into a grotesque, mocking grin. This contrast, pure beauty beside grotesque ugliness, seizes the narrator's mind. The woman becomes the symbol of everything he longs for yet can never possess. She is not merely a person, she is a revelation. From this moment, his life becomes divided into before and after this vision. Chapter 3. A Night of Impossible Arrival. One night, everything the narrator thought impossible becomes real. The small, shuttered window of his dark room opens. The ethereal woman appears, silent, graceful, almost floating. She lies down on his bed, closes her eyes, and dies without a sound. This moment marks the collapse of the thin line between reality and dream. The narrator, overwhelmed by grief and obsession, treats her body as a sacred relic. He worships her lifeless form with a reverence that is both tender and terrifying. And then, in a trance-like state, he cuts her body into pieces, trying desperately to possess the beauty that always remained beyond his reach. With the help of a mysterious hunchback, he transports her remains to a cemetery at dawn. From this moment onward, the narrator becomes a man pursued by shadows. Chapter 4. The Hunchback, a Shadow That Will Not Leave. After that night, the hunchback appears everywhere, in alleys, in dreams, in reflections. Sometimes mocking, sometimes silent, sometimes threatening. But gradually, the listener begins to wonder, is the hunchback a real person? A symbol of guilt? A manifestation of childhood trauma? A distorted reflection of the narrator himself? Hedayat never gives a clear answer. Instead, he leaves the hunchback as a shifting shadow, part guide, part tormentor. Chapter 5. The Harlot, the earthly woman who mirrors his darkness. After the ethereal woman disappears from his life, another woman dominates it, the harlot, earthly, vulgar, manipulative, and indifferent. This is the narrator's wife. Their marriage is a torment. She humiliates him, cheats on him, and seems to enjoy his suffering. Yet he cannot leave her. He is bound to her by a crushing mixture of hatred, dependency, and despair. The two women, the pure, unreachable figure and the cruel, earthly one, represent the split within his soul. One is the ideal he yearns for. The other is the dark mirror of his own corrupted reality. Chapter 6. childhood ghosts and the origins of madness. The narrative fractures here. The narrator drifts into memories of his childhood, a chaotic, oppressive world full of sickness, fear, and grotesque figures. We encounter a father addicted to opium, an atmosphere heavy with decay, aunts and relatives filled with superstition, and always the recurring figure of the hunchback. It becomes clear that the narrator's despair did not begin with the ethereal woman. It has been growing inside him since childhood, fed by trauma, loneliness, and emotional neglect. The past is not simply background, it is the root of the rot. Chapter 7. The Second Murder. A repetition of the dark pattern. Eventually, the narrator reaches a breaking point with his wife. He kills her. Quietly, methodically, almost without emotion. As he dismembers her body, he feels the same cold detachment he felt while cutting up the ethereal woman. History repeats itself. The crime merges with the earlier crime. The women merge with each other. The narrator's identity splits further. He hides her remains in a suitcase and wanders the city, haunted by the presence of the hunchback who seems to follow him everywhere. Is the hunchback accusing him, mocking him, or simply waiting for him? Chapter 8. Dissolution, when all identities become one. As the story approaches its end, the narrator loses all sense of time, place, and identity. He begins to suspect that he himself may have been the hunchback. The ethereal woman may never have existed. The harlot might be another version of the ethereal woman. Or perhaps all of them are fragments of his shattered psyche. There is no final revelation, only the realization that the boundaries between the narrator and his nightmares have dissolved completely. In the story's final lines, he returns to his writing case, picks up his pen, and writes the same haunting sentence with which the novel began. The circle closes, but nothing has been resolved. Final chapter. Closing reflections. Dear listeners, today we ventured into the haunting world of the blind owl, a world built not on plot but on emotion, fear, longing, and psychological unraveling. This is not a book that offers answers. It offers wounds. It offers mirrors. It offers the unsettling truth that sometimes the darkest place we can enter is our own mind. Thank you for joining us on this journey through shadows and symbols. We hope this exploration inspires you to read or revisit Hedayat's masterpiece, a text that reveals a new layer each time you approach it. Until next time, keep reading, keep reflecting, and remember, some stories do not simply stay on the page. They echo, they linger, they follow us like a shadow on the wall.